Hello.
Hello, Farah. Hi.
Hi, how are you, Ainat?
How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Great. Thank you. We are waiting for Patrick to join us.
Okay,
Yeah,
no
he
problem.
should be there any moment.
Sure, no problem.
All right. So how have you been?
Good, all's well.
Good. I'm happy to hear
Hmm?
that.
Yeah.
And so far waiting for Patrick. Let me call him. Just a second. I will make a call just to make sure that nothing happened, that he is being delayed. Just a second. Yes, I'm back, Farah. So I
Mm-hmm.
think, yeah, he should be joining us any moment now. In the meantime, Farah, last time I asked, do we need to do anything? Is there any procedure for us to follow to ensure that, if you need to continue the service beyond the first year or to renew the contract or anything like that? Or
No, at the time being, you don't need to do anything from your side. It's us who need to discuss it internally and see the objectives for the next year. And based on this, we will decide whether to extend the subscription or stop it.
okay. And in the meantime, are you doing anything on the website, the other part of the original proposal, or have you decided just to let it go for the time being and wait, or are you doing something on that regard?
We already have a couple of like agency working on the website, so for the time being, it's staying as it is.
Okay.
We're not having any changes.
Okay. Okay, I think Patrick is joining us right now. Patrick?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, are you there? Okay, I'll change presenter to you and I'll let you take over. Go ahead.
Hi, Patrick. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So it's been a very busy month, it sounds like.
Yeah. I was on leave actually for 2 weeks.
Where'd you go?
Lebanon. It
Oh, how was that?
was good.
It's
Nice
good.
weather.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, first I want to ask you, like we normally have been, any comments back to us? If you guys went any further with applying any of the recommendations, or is there still a leave where you guys are catching up first?
Yes, they actually implemented the ones with the links where with the for each video they have now they linked it to the website and Facebook and the social media platforms. So if
Okay.
you open the subscription now for the videos, now you can see the links to other platforms.
Okay, great. Yeah, if you could keep us informed of all of it, we'll take special attention to check and give the direct results from each case. So yeah, that was pretty no-brainer when it comes down to linking everything, so for all of it to grow. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Farah. Give me 1 second. I have to turn off a phone nearby. 1 second. Okay. What about I think this was actually going to be our finalized formats. We made some changes in the Excel reports to make them more clear. Are all of them acceptable, or is there anything different you'd like to see aside from the change you requested last month with the trending?
No, it's good.
Okay. All right, I'm going to jump right in this case. I have the report open, but I'm starting with Aljazeera English like usual.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the main takeaway from this month was that there was the most significant drop since we've been tracking in the amount of videos produced as a whole, with 16.5% in number of videos produced and closer to 20% taking in total viewing time. The biggest reason the viewing time was higher than the number of videos produced was the fact that across the board, actually, with all the channels, the video durations are decreasing. In this case, it was pretty significant, almost 20%. And this was one of the recommendations we've made a couple times is, as a whole, you know, the attention spans of viewers are continuing to decrease more and more, and it's a strong recommendation, you know, for the producers to follow suit, because people have less and less time, they're viewing from their phones, et cetera, to make sure they're actually watching the videos and they're not willing to look at a long view time, figure that they can't understand the story, and drop out accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
CNN International was the top producer during the month, which was the first time for them in May, and aside from that, the rest of the trends were pretty consistent from the last 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
Satisfaction as a whole was pretty stagnant. There wasn't any significant changes. Aljazeera English is improving when it comes down to, we've identified multiple times as the most important stat when it comes down to sentiment is views per opinion, which is how many views it takes for someone to make any kind of opinion, whether or not it's rating, whether or not it's like, whether or not it's comment. And Aljazeera English is improving in this department. So as you said, if you make changes, most of the recommendations we have, that's one of the most important metrics in addition to adding subscriptions as a whole. So that's at least good news. I feel most month we're usually getting negative news on Aljazeera English in proximity to some of the bigger risers. Sky News, the last few months we have been reporting that they've been making the most improvement. They have, we've been citing a lot of their changes. The trend reversed. They have been having a drop compared to past months, particularly this month, so I guess that's good to know that they're less of an emerging threat than they appeared to be a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
The most influential video in the market, I believe every month except for one, it has come from Russia Today, who still has established himself as the leader in volume. His Russian Proton rocket explodes minutes after launch.
Mm-hmm.
Now for the Aljazeera Arabic sector, there wasn't any change in overall rank in this case. The rank stayed just the same. As opposed to last month, we had a change. I believe we've had a change every other month before this one.
Mm-hmm.
BBC Arabic produced the most videos, followed by On TV, Tahrir, and Aljazeera Arabic, and the number of views followed the same order.
They produced 8,500 videos?
That's how many videos were produced, correct.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of videos to be produced. So yeah, this was the most relevant metric. Of course, it's an over 50% increase. Though BBC Arabic has been increasing the last couple months as well. They took a significant jump this month.
Mm-hmm.
Al Arabiya gained the most subscribers ahead of Aljazeera Arabic, On TV, Russia Today Arabic, and then as we see here, BBC Arabic, even though they are producing so much content, they're gaining subscribers, which is more of a relevant statistic. The number of videos produced still isn't where the rest of the competition is, so they're less of a concern in that end.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from this, the viewers of Aljazeera Arabic were expressing their opinion and satisfaction about Aljazeera, making it gain in all metrics by a slight percentage. So you had mentioned the change you mentioned you guys had implemented this month. Was it implemented across all channels? I forgot if I'd asked you, across all 4 of them or only for one of the channels?
Actually, I'm not sure. Let me check, because I noticed they've implemented this for Aljazeera English. So just 1 second, let me check.
No problem.
Actually, it's only for the Aljazeera English.
Okay, so this isn't attributed to any direct changes. Yeah, unless you knew of any other direct changes. Aljazeera Arabic also had an increase when it came to sentiment as a whole, so just wondering if there's anything actionable that you were aware of. So
Okay.
No,
A question, Farah. Do you know the date when they implemented that change? Just for us to go back and see if, just the note on that date, whether the change started to occur.
I know it's during May, but I'm not sure about the exact date. But I can check with the YouTube team, the team who's handling YouTube. I can check with them.
Okay, we'll look into it just to make sure that, if you knew the exact date, it would help. Otherwise, we'll go back and check for it. Thank you.
Yeah.
yeah, if you let us know, as we said, that will help. Just keep in the loop if changes are made, particularly even if it's something we didn't recommend, to be able to, of course, measure the result, over the next couple months and verify it's working accordingly.
Yeah, definitely. I'll get back to you on the exact date.
Okay, no problem. BBC Arabic, compared to April, added the most videos, increasing its content by almost 10,000%. Sky News Arabic and CNN International published less videos in May. And for aggregate views, BBC Arabic, Al Masr, Alum, CCTV, and Al Alam showed gains when compared to April. Aljazeera Arabic had a slight loss in views, while Al Arabiya showed a significant loss, and Russia Today Arabic, this is the first time they've shown any kind of real loss in the Arabic sector. So that might be a good sign on their end.
Mm-hmm.
The largest proportional increase in video duration was Al Mayadeen, with an increase of 20 seconds overall. And just like the last segment, the overall trending is everyone is reducing their video duration overall.
Mm-hmm.
And Al Masr Al-Yum uploaded the most influential video in the market.
Mm-hmm.
Now for the Al Jazeera documentary sector. Al Jazeera documentary continues to increase the number of videos published. This has been the consistent trend. I believe last month Nat Geo Abu Dhabi had significantly less. They only had one produced last month. They did kick that up to 12. So Al Jazeera documentary, this is one of the bigger changes we've seen the last 4 months, as you guys have really picked it up. Because if you remember, this is the sector where you had a few months ago traditionally been much ahead. But on a month-to-month basis, Nat Geo Abu Dhabi, the first couple months we tracked, was catching up. So luckily that trend has been reversed once again. The views, Al Jazeera documentary had a very significant increase. The subscribers decreased by a fraction, pretty much stayed stagnant. So that's a concern when it comes down to how you're releasing the videos and adding, a lot of the recommendations we're making are based on adding subscribers and making everything a lot more engaged, especially if you're getting such a big increase in views. Conversely, Nat Geo Abu Dhabi had decreases across the board. This is really what you'd expect if they have a 30% decrease in views, also a over 30% decrease in subscribers. So this is why it's a slight concern to see with Al Jazeera documentary such a big increase, then almost not having a similar increase in subscribers.
Yeah.
The total subscribers overall in this segment had decreased by just about a quarter. And that's, of course, weighed heavily as there's only 2 competitors by Nat Geo Abu Dhabi.
Mm-hmm.
And average video duration was a little bit longer for Al Jazeera documentary, as opposed to Nat Geo Abu Dhabi had decreased theirs by a significant margin, almost 2.5 minutes. So when we get to the recommendation at the end, we're recommending something that's going to help with this if you want to keep the data just as long, but it's still a strong recommendation to be concerned about having these videos that are just too long. That definitely probably has something to do with a contribution with less subscribers, etc., if they're dropping out before the end of the video.
Yeah, I had a quick look at the recommendations, and actually at this point we've been discussing internally for quite a long time about reducing the size of the videos, making them shorter.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in about a minute but when it comes down to the chapter format, we've given a couple other recommendations. I'll make sure to finish the report first. So. Subscriptions driven per video. pretty obviously, as we saw, the views went up and the subscriptions went down, had decreased for Al Jazeera English, and Nat Geo Abu Dhabi decreased, but not as significantly. Viewers in both channels showed a decreased tendency to like or dislike videos, even though the raw numbers, of course, increased for Al Jazeera documentary because the raw number of views went up.
Mm-hmm.
Al Jazeera documentary uploaded the most individual video in the market for the month, so that's good as well. The first couple months, your competitor had always had the most influential video.
Mm-hmm.
Mubashir and Mubashir Misr, there were no changes in overall rank once again. Mubashir Misr remains the leader in the market. It produced significantly more content than the rest of its competitors. And looks like overall Mubashir Misr is trending upward and retaining its lead. Well, I don't know if on your end if the entity Mubashir versus Mubashir Misr is less of a priority, but a lot less content's being produced on that end now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that's, it's your decision what's a higher priority in that end. So MBC and Al Hadaf also are increasing their videos significantly, while on TV Live, which had been trending upward a couple months ago, reduced its content significantly over the course of the month.
Okay.
The one and as we see here, the one alarming trend we have here, there might be something we're missing when it comes down to. We did manually look at their videos. We didn't see any significant changes that were evident, but the fact that their views decreased significantly and their subscribers rose, my assumption is it might be a third-party initiative, meaning on their website directly. That's the best guess we have, is we weren't tracking it before. We're only doing YouTube, but on their website directly, they must have had a third party that must have prompted their viewers to subscribe, because it really doesn't make sense to have that big of a jump without an internal push of some kind by a third party outside of YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
View rates were much lower for Al Jazeera Mubashir Misr, almost 100%, while Al Jazeera Mubashir had an increase. And On TV Live suffered a loss of close to 80% as well, while Al Hadaf had a bit of an increase.
Mm-hmm.
Al Jazeera Mubashir Misr uploaded the most influential video in the market. That's about it on the data end. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So when it comes down to the recommendations, as I said, there's a few different. We've recommended before to significantly reduce the length of videos, but here we're recommending the chapter approach in particular, which comes down to one of the big advantages. I'm not going to read from the script of the chapter. Really comes down to breaking it down. So if I only want to see if there's a long news story about something in the news, and I'm only interested in one small juicy segment because I only have 5 minutes when I sit down, it allows me to break it down to that particular little niche. The data, as we found, in over 50% of the cases, if a viewer chooses to view only one chapter, let's say in a 4 to 5 chapter series, that viewer will complete the series within the same day. So what we've noticed that comes down most to, this data was skewed more heavily they had in the U.S., but a lot of people, if they're at work, when they're viewing something, and they have a few different breaks on and off, so if they're going to watch a 5-minute chapter, then they're able to see the rest of it later, because like anything else, once you get them engaged, they're going to be interested in the whole story.
Yeah.
Our recommendation here is definitely for any videos over 15 minutes. That's kind of what the industry is leaning towards when it comes down to a long video. I personally think you should even go less than that in cases, but if you have couple hour-long videos, which you do have in some cases with Al Jazeera documentary, it's difficult to break it down into more than 8 or 9 parts. But
Okay, that's worth looking into. So I'm going to share these recommendations with the virtual team.
okay, yeah, and the last comment about breaking it down into chapters is just, in addition to actually having people watch more, it does, of course, make it look like you're producing more content. all of your content produced numbers will go up, and all of these different terms that are listed in part 2, if you have a different subtitle here, that's going to be indexed separately. So if someone's looking for, in this case, Late Night with Seth, it's going to be indexed separately for each part. You should be changing this part of each title, so that gives you more content when people are searching for specific details within a story, if that makes sense. Do you have any other additional questions, Farah? Or
No, not really. Everything is clear.
and the trending, as we added it with Excel, that's is that exactly how you had envisioned the way we added the data? That's what you wanted?
Yes, yes. It's excellent.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think that's it on our end. If you don't have any more questions, it was nice talking to you again, and I will reach out to you in a couple of weeks about next month.
Thank you so much for the presentation and everything.
All right. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
Okay, thank you, Farah. Have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, same to you. Now, quick question. Did you receive anything about the invoice?
What do you mean?
You sent me the latest invoice for May, right?
Right.
Did the finance send you anything that the payment is released or not yet?
No.
Okay, okay. Fine. Let me double check with them because it's already.
Yeah, I mean, we received the invoice that we received payment basically early in June, few days into the month of June to, for the invoice to cover May. Now, the new invoice that I had sent 10 days, 12 days, whatever, maybe 10 days ago. Anyway, I sent it to you, then you said it was number 4, not number 5, so I corrected it and sent it back, and that's all. I haven't heard anything. Why? Was there any issue or problem?
No. I just need to check if it was processed. If not, I'll follow up with the finance to speed up the process so you can have it before.
Okay, yeah, we appreciate your help, as always, just to ensure that they process it correctly and they wire the payment on time, because this is, essential life with any organization. Okay, great.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, and again, have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Bye.